the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real itself. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real itself. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help.
Money, money, money. That's all you talk about.
Wrong with being wealthy.
I know you know.
Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, but not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. You don't like money so much, why do you get up and go to work? Yes, I do. Think about all the things that you think you have to say. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. Ed Cortez.
Good morning, Black World, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth-building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It's truly an honor, privilege, and a blessing to be able to come to you live and direct from the Black Wealth Movement Studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Guys, if you are not down with the Black Wealth Movement, man, you are doing your family and your legacy a disservice if you don't have some sort of wealth building protocol and game plan in your life right now. The Black Wealth Movement is all about helping individuals get on a stable financial footing so that we can later practice group economics. See, everybody is screaming group economics, group economics, group economics. But where do we practice group economics when we are struggling individually, right? Group economics is about you putting your resources into the pot with the group, but if you have no resources to contribute, right? So the Black Wealth Movement will help you minimize your taxes, eliminate debt, free up the cash you need to start investing so you can start building that family empire so that you have something to contribute to the pot. All you have to do is inbox me or text Black Wealth Movement to 314-874-6887 to learn more about the Black Wealth Movement. Really quickly, guys, if you're in the St. Louis metro area, then I am doing a generational wealth blueprint workshop here in St. Louis. I'm going to be at my man Marlowe's shop over at Jack of All Fades on St. Charles Rock Road this Sunday, October 22nd, right? The ticket price is $15, right? $15 to learn how to build generational wealth. We're talking about asset accumulation. We're talking about asset protection. We're talking about really doing all of the things that wealthy people do to build their empires. I'm going to give you the blueprint to build generational wealth. Would $15 be a huge investment for you if you walked out of there with a game plan that will guarantee that your grandchildren inherit millions? That's what we're talking about, a generational wealth blueprint. It's time for us to start making our sacrifices count. See, we sacrifice for a lot of crap, right? And those sacrifices don't count for nothing. But how about making your sacrifice count? So if you're going to sacrifice for something, how about making sure that your grandchildren inherit 7 figures? And then you pass down not only the resources, but the blueprint, the knowledge, so they build on that inheritance and your future descendants never have to know struggle financially because of what you have sacrificed for today. $15. All you have to do is inbox me. I'll get you the link to get your Eventbrite ticket. It's Jack of All Fades over on St. Charles Rock Road. So all you have to do is inbox or text me and I'll get you the information. But today I have a very, very, very special guest on the line, sitting kind of waiting in the green room, if you will, man. I got a chance to meet with this brother, man, and hang out with this brother. And you guys know what My Brother's Keeper speaker series is all about. It's about black men who are doing big things in business. It's about black men who are doing big things in the community. It's about black men who are reaching down and helping other black men learn how to do the same thing. So when I reached out to this brother, he said, man, yes, I'll do it. And you guys know we did a whole week of my brother's keeper speaker series, but he had something come up. He couldn't make it on the show. And I said, man, I can't not have you back. So let me know as soon as your schedule is available so we can get you back on the show. And I want to show you guys what you missed during my brother's keeper speaker series week. So I now want to introduce to some and present to others my brother from another mother, Mr. Bless Ellis. Let me get him online real quick. There we go. Bless, my brother. How are you doing this morning, brother?
Oh, man, I'm great, man. I'm great. As they say, better than amazing.
There you go.
How I'm feeling this morning. A little sleepy, though, you know.
That's all right. Good. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you getting up early, man. It's funny because I started doing these shows when I was working a 9 to 5. So I would do them before work. And here's a tip for you entrepreneurs, right? Those of you who say you can't find the time. I had to find the time before work. So I started doing the shows before I went to work to make sure I did something in my business before I went and put some work in somebody else's business. Now, guess what? I don't work a 9 to 5 no more. So it's like, do I still keep getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to prepare for these shows and doing all this stuff? I do, man, because I love y'all. So I appreciate you guys hanging with your boy, rocking with your boy, and tuning in all of this time. So I still get up, even though I don't have to do this show each and every morning at 7, man. But real quick, man, tell us a little bit about who Bless Ellis is. First of all, the name, man. Where does the name come from, man? When I saw you on Facebook for the first time, I was like, man, this brother's name is Bless. So walk us through that whole thing, man, and let us know who you are.
My name is Bless Ellis. I am the founder of the Kingdom Family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an investor at this point now. At this point in my life, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, brick and mortar business owner, my econ business owner.
Right.
For y'all who don't know what that is, I'm a financial literacy company organization. Mm-hmm. You know, what else do you want to know?
So. Has the entrepreneurial bug been in you? Would you say you're a lifelong entrepreneur, or did at some point it just kick in, or is this something that you just kind of, you know, like a lot of us as kids, man, it's like, man, how do I get this money, even as kids? So where did that begin for you?
Okay, well, actually, it came, all my life, first of all.
Okay.
Right? But it really hit me when I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
See, college taught other people certain lessons, and it taught me a certain lesson. Right?
Okay.
When I was in college, when I went to college, I wound up quitting and leaving and going to do entrepreneurial things.
Right. Right.
When I was in college, I sat back and said to myself, and I promise you I said this. I said, hold on a minute, Bless. So you're going to graduate with everybody else, right? And then you're going to be looking for a job like everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. And most likely being who you are, you'll probably get a decent job just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And you'll eventually wind up just like everybody else.
Right.
Right? So I said, but you know what? I'm different. You know, that's not what I really want out of my life, right? Mm-hmm. So I decided to leave. But the reason why I left is because I figured out this. I said, somebody is going to need a job when they graduate.
Right.
So
right.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the job for them to need it.
Right.
Stop playing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's powerful. And that's what we have to start. That's a seed that we have to start sowing into our children. Right. And I think so many people miss that is when you, like you said, somebody's going to need jobs. But I think the way society is set up, you know, I shared this yesterday, that society is set up so that when you go to school, school prepares you for getting a job, right? But it doesn't prepare you for creating jobs like you wanted to do. And I think that's the seed that we have to sow into our children to say, hey, especially for us as Black people, not only are we graduating with a lot of debt and in pursuit of these degrees, then we have to go and compete for someone else's job. And if none of our children start to think entrepreneurially and say, hey, somebody has to create jobs, not for everybody, but we need jobs for these black people that are stuck on going to school and they're graduating, and we know that if white people are graduating with degrees and they can't find jobs, what does that mean for black people graduating with degrees?
And a black man.
And a black man, right? In particular, because it's very different. You know, it's by design that our sisters have an easier time finding job because they are less threatening in the corporate world. So they can sometimes find work with to being degreed up benefits them in a special way that it doesn't so much for us, especially if you a fully masculine stand up with your chest poked out man. That's difficult. So you started with your entrepreneur journey. What was your first endeavor when you left college and you started to create jobs? What was the first thing that you went?
Ah man, you'll never. What I did was I sold oils.
Oils. Well. Listen, and I would guess that because I know where you're from. So talk about where you're from.
Right. I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I saw, because I ran into a guy one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was it was a guy on my corner in the projects where I grew up. I grew up in Cypress Hills projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had up the block a little bit. He had this Frank card, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would sell Franks, hot dogs.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
if in New York, we call them Franks, right? But
right.
a hot dog, and he'd be out there grinding all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy with the oils was like not far from him either,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
On the same block. And I had a conversation with the guy, Frank. It was a Spanish guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I said, listen, because I was inquiring. I was like, who would want? Because back then I looked at it like, why the hell would you be selling Franks? Why sell Franks? Do something else, blah, 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 right?
Right.
But then come to find out, he didn't even live in our neighborhood. He lived in Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had 2 children. He put them through college. He's doing all of this stuff, and it's happening from my community. It's happening from, he did it right. He got all of the financing from us.
Right.
Then I said to myself, I said, hold on a minute. This is when it started kicking in. I started noticing and then the guy with the oils, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would sit there all day long and sell his little oil things for $1. And I love it. We all buy them, but we're not even really thinking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he wound up selling $300 worth of oils in a day.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's people that are going to work every day that don't even make that kind of money. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I was like, yo, I need to try something. So when I came, I came back from North Carolina, went back to New York, and I bought like a big thing of oils and brought them back to North Carolina. We packaged them up, me and my boy, and we was hustling like in the streets, like we was really hustling.
Right.
And and that's when I realized that there's more money to be made in the streets in our communities amongst ourselves than we believe. But we're not tapping into that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're reaching outside of our communities to try to figure out how to earn money and get money outside. When in actuality, our community spends the most money, period.
Yes.
Why would we go anywhere else to find money?
Yes.
When our communities are full of it. Everybody else is coming in and taking our money.
Yeah.
We're not doing it ourselves. So
man,
that was my first entrepreneur experience.
Nice, man. I love it, man. And you are so right, man. I was preparing for a show about a month or so back, and I was looking at some statistics. Black people have the lowest median income of all the cultures on the planet, right?
Yep.
But we account for roughly 85% of all retail spending. Wait a minute. How does that? We have the lowest median income, but we account for roughly 85% of all retail spending. And that really boggled my mind, man. But you're absolutely right. That guy was able to put his kids through college with your money.
Selling hot dogs in the hood.
Yeah.
So, I talked about this. I think I said this. I don't know if I said this, but it's conditioning. But it's conditioning on a level that people could never ever believe. This big business on dealing because they pump so much advertising and so much stuff into us,
Mm-hmm.
into our communities, that
Right.
it's almost like we really don't have any. That's all we actually know.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
All we know is the clothes. All we know is the this. How we shine, where I come from, is you have to be the flyest. You have to look the goodest. You have to have the hottest hats, the hottest shoes, the hottest blah, blah, blah. That's how you shine, and that's what we're taught in our community. So guess what? Yes, we're going to invest everything we can to make ourselves look and feel like we're on top. See, everybody's objective in life, a lot of the human nature is to want to feel like they're important.
Right. Yep.
So your level of importance puts you at a certain stature in your community, right? If that's what your community is circulating, then eventually you get caught up in that wind tunnel,
Right.
and you start doing this exact thing. You take that with you everywhere you go.
Right. Yeah. And it's crazy, man. And there's a scene in the movie The Matrix that I absolutely love. And I really didn't get it until I started getting into this money game and starting to understand how capitalism worked. But you remember the scene where they showed Morpheus was telling Neo what the real purpose of the Matrix is, right? And how they were having the human forms, and they was talking about the humans put out so many BTUs of energy, and the machines needed that energy to run, right? Well, guess what? Black people put off so many BTUs of financial energy, and this machine that we call white supremacy and racism needs that energy to run. And that's kind of where we are. And that's why you and myself are both in the money game, teaching our people that, hey, we can redirect some of this energy that we're feeding the machine. Let's siphon some of it back into our communities, and let's use some of that same energy and rebuild, man. When we were in Memphis, I was hanging out with your buddy Doc and his lovely wife Winter, and they called you on Skype and had you come in, and you talked about, as an entrepreneur, losing your mind, right? Can you kind of go through that whole little thing again, where most people as entrepreneurs are afraid to get outside of the box, and you took it a step further. Don't get outside of the box. You gotta lose your flipping mind sometimes as an entrepreneur to have the success that you want.
Sometimes to be successful in anything, I don't care what it is, whether it be entrepreneur, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. This is everybody that's watching. Okay, the first thing you're going to have to lose, absolutely. This is what you have to lose to be successful. The greatest thing that you're going to have to be willing to sacrifice is your mind. Is your mind. You literally have to lose your mind. And when I say lose your mind, I mean completely. So, and let me give you an example. You can't, not an example, but once you lose your mind, right? If you don't believe you have to lose your mind, ask some of the wealthiest people in the world. Everybody, while they were going through their transition, thought they were completely insane. They completely lost their mind, and that's what the perception of everybody around them thought until they reached the destination that they desired. Right? They reached the desired destination. So the reality is, you have to absolutely lose your mind, but not only lose your mind. Once you start losing it, you can't allow your past, somebody from your past, to come run up and tap you on the shoulder talking about, excuse me, is this yours?
Right.
You have to say, no. No. That's not mine. It used to be mine, and I lost it on purpose.
Right.
See, you have to remember that. To not accept your old mind back anymore. Because it doesn't value you. It doesn't have the value that you need to get to where you're going.
Right.
And I gave an analogy that day, and I thought about that on the fly. So here's how I'm gonna paint this picture for you now.
Gotcha.
Okay? You have your family and friends. You're standing at the beginning of a street. You have your family and friends on the left side of you. You have your co-workers and your bosses on the right side of you.
Right.
You're standing at the beginning of this block. At the end of the block, there is a $10 million check waiting for you.
Okay.
Nobody knows it but you.
Gotcha.
Now, here's the trick. This is the part of losing your mind that everybody else is going to see. Okay, but you're going to have focus, so you know what's going on, right? You're going to have to walk down this block butt naked.
Wow.
People are going to have to see every flaw, okay, every inconsistency, everything, every obstacle. They're gonna see everything, and I promise you, those are going to be the ones that are going to try to stop you from reaching your destination. But see, you have to stay fast because you know what's at the end of this destination.
Absolutely.
So my question to everybody that's watching me right now: are you going to allow these people to stop you from your $10 million, from your destination?
Wow.
For me, the reality was no. So yes, I lost my mind a long time.
Yeah.
Really.
And you're absolutely right, man, because I read a quote that I absolutely love that says, entrepreneurs are the only people that will jump off a cliff and build a parachute on the way down. Right?
On the way down.
That's losing your mind. It's like, dude,
Absolutely.
I can't fly, but I know what I want is on the other side of this valley. And the only way for me to get there is I got to jump. And either I'm going to develop some wings like a bird and fly, or I'm going to build some sort of contraption. That I ain't worried about. I know I'm going to get that part figured out. The toughest part that I'm ever going to have to deal with is the initial leap. And that's the part that people don't get. It's like, if you can get to the jump part, everything else, I promise you, you will figure it out. You will work it out. So that's a dope analogy, man. All your flaws, exposing yourself, being completely vulnerable as you are in pursuit of your dreams will make people look at you like you're crazy.
Yes, but here's the thing.
Go ahead.
People are depending on you subconsciously, though. Make no mistake. They're depending on you. They're depending on you to fight past their criticism. They're depending on you to fight past everything they throw at you, right? Because they need you to be successful.
Right.
You just don't realize it, but they need you. These people are watching you. They need you. All right. It's just like having a child, right, acting up and doing all of the wrong things and doing everything, but you don't give up on them because you know that they need you in this time, in this frame of their lives. Right. Like a teenager. Right.
Yep.
That's what everybody around you. They actually need to see somebody go through. See? Because at the end, once you reach that destination and they see you shining, right? It is absolutely your job to come back and say, see, this is what I was doing.
Right.
This is what I was working on.
Right.
All right?
Right.
Now, let me show you how we can take this thing further.
Absolutely.
See? And that's
absolutely. And so many people are allowing those on the sidelines to stop them from that mission. And you know in your heart of hearts that what's waiting for you on the other side. How could you let somebody stop you from going to get it or even postpone you? Because sometimes what we do is we don't let people stop us. We'll let them slow us down. We'll say, okay, I'm just not going to do it right now. All right, I'm going to wait till my children get out of college. I'm going to wait till my toddlers are in school for a day, and then I'm going to really hit this thing hard. Or I'm going to wait until my husband gets his thing off the ground, and then I'm going to go ahead and focus on me. We have all of these excuses, man, that we use, and we put things off, man. Procrastination is a true killer. So tell us really quickly, man, what does success mean to you?
Oh, that's a good question, right? And I was talking to my son. My son is 20 years old now, right? He's in college or whatever. And we were talking about success. And he actually said, when he said this, it kind of blew me away. He said, Dad, I want to be successful in life, but I want you to understand what I mean when I mean success. He said, I'm not talking about financially successful only. That's just one aspect of being successful, Dad. He said, that's not what I want to be. I don't want people to look at me and say, oh, he's just financially successful. He said, I want to be successful in my relationships with people. I want to be successful in my journeys through life and whatever I decide to do. And I want to be financially successful as well, right? But I don't want to, success without all three of those things is not success to me. See?
Right.
And it made me actually realize that, you know what, he's absolutely right. And the reason why I say that is because success for me, after talking to my son, and because sometimes kids say certain things that bring perspective to you. Right?
Absolutely.
If I had $1 billion today, and my friends and family was offered me $1 billion, and I could not bless my friends and family, and that was the stipulation, you can keep the $1 billion.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
See, to me, success for me is success for people around me. That to me is true success. When you can actually, people around you, you resonate so wide, okay, that people start becoming blessed, not just being near you.
Right.
See,
right.
That's success.
Absolutely.
To me, that's success.
Absolutely.
Everything else is just the icing on the cake. But the actual meat and the potatoes for me of success is that.
Yeah, I think, you know, that is critically important to understand. It's I tell everybody every morning I'm a future billionaire, right? And I say you can sit on the sidelines and you can watch me do this, or you can get in the game with me and we can do it together. Because one thing I know about all billionaires, all of them, they've never gotten there without helping at least a few others become billionaires. And then those on the outer edges maybe didn't come billionaires, but they're mega millionaires, right? And then those on the outer circle, they didn't get to get into the $100 million club, but they're deca millionaires. They might have 60, 70, 80, 90 million. And then those on the outer ripple of that, they didn't get to become deca millionaires, but they might be worth 1 or 2 million, right? And then on the outer edges of that, those they didn't get to make millions, but they might be knocking on the door at 800, 900,000, right? So that is the effect that one person could have. And I love listening to Dr. George Fraser. He says, you got two choices, only two choices. You're either going to be the center of your own network, or you're going to be a part of somebody else's network. And I think sometimes we miss that in trying to be the center of our own network. Our ego sometimes get in the way and say, you know what? Sometimes we don't have what it takes to be the center of our own network. So we need to plug into another network, right? But every now and then we let this ego, this false macho, this false bravado say, hey, I am the center, and you don't have anything to offer to those around you. So how are you going to be the center of anything? You might need to plug into a network first, be a part of someone else's network, and then you can develop and then be the center of your own network. So talk real quick, man, because you're really good at this, about the importance of networking, man, because you are one of the masters at networking and building relationships quickly with others and getting people, the right people on your team, and all that kind of stuff. So how important is networking as an entrepreneur?
Okay. Well, first of all, what I would like to do, since I have the time, I want to send a strong shout out to the entire Kingdom family, all of the nucleus team. Okay. It's very important. And we talk about this all the time. Networking is everything, and people need to understand that. Networking is truly everything, right? Everything. The reason why, and I'll speak upon the Kingdom family. How about that?
Okay.
The Kingdom family and how we network and how we do what we do, right? I realized that there's absolutely no way that I can do all the things that needs to be done to be successful in network marketing. I figured that out. I said, Les, there's absolutely no way you can do this by yourself. You're good at this, but you're not good at this, and that. Right? It's the two, right? So what I did is I decided that we needed to create an organization within network marketing, within our organization, a nucleus team, right? Now, what I did is, there's certain people in my organization that handle specific things, okay? Somebody, Martina Britt Yelverton does, she is my brain is going crazy, but she's the marketing, she does all the marketing for the Kingdom family, right? Okay?
Right.
Kimberly Poe. She does marketing, and she does recruiting, and she does training.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Then we have Kurt Wheeler, who does. See, everybody has their particular strengths. And
Right.
when you combine them together, that's when you really can
Right.
really flourish. You can really grow. That's how.
Yeah.
For me, and what I see missing was that us coming together to build something. That's, to me, that's what networking really is. I networked with all of them. We decided that this is what my strength is. That's what my strength is, and it made us combine super strong.
Yeah, I love that, man. So as a kid, I grew up watching Voltron, right? I don't know if you're familiar with Voltron, right?
Oh,
That so you think about when if you remember when the series first came on, they only found 4 of the 5 lions, right? They only found 4 of them. Now, the Voltron series, for those of you who don't know, it's an old cartoon, and basically there were these 5 lions that joined together to make a super robot. But each individual lion was strong in and of themselves. I mean, they were, when it was just the 4 of them, they kicked butt. Matter of fact, when they found the first one by itself kicked butt, right? And I think this is where we missed the mark at, is no matter how strong one lion is by itself, 2 lions when they partner together, 3 lions when they come together, all 5 of the lions when they're fighting independently are pretty strong. But they are nowhere near as strong as they are when they come together and form Voltron. And that's what we miss, man. We get so caught up in competing with one another. It's like, man, if we just start to collaborate a little bit more. I mean, if one person, and the Bible speaks of this, it says if one person can put 1,000 to flight, two people can put 10,000 to flight. Now, wait a minute. See, this is what we call God's math, right? God's math said one person by himself can fend off 1,000. But 2 people coming together cannot fend off 2,000. They create something called a mastermind, and now they can fend off 10,000. So what would happen if we came together 1,000 strong and created this super mastermind? If 2 can fend off 10,000, what the hell can 1,000 do, right? So networking is I mean, you got to be willing to get in where you fit in, as you say, hey, here's what I bring to the table. Use it to the betterment of the organization as a whole. And I'm going to humbly submit whatever that I have to bring to the table. I'm going to bring it, and let's all work together. Let's create this synergy and alignment. Everybody works within their strengths, but also we allow each other to hold one another accountable for your strengths. So if you're strong in marketing, just don't break on us when everybody start leaning on you for your marketing expertise, right? Because that's where you're strong, right? And then when you try to step outside of where you're strong, we're going to say, nope, we got somebody, you are 7 at this, but we got somebody who's a 10 at this. Let the 10 do this, and you do what you're a 10 at, man. So that's critically important, man. So
I just want to add to that
yeah.
real quick. And also what we have to do is not give up when obstacles rise. See, that's what we as African Americans do, right? We'll get into a situation and we don't have problem solving. We only know a certain way to solve issues by we're ready to flee, right? I can't deal with this. I'm out. I'll just do it myself, and it's back to myself again. Right. And here's something that I know you probably know this. You gotta know this. Rakim. Rakim in his rap song, he said this: couldn't follow a leader long enough, so I drug him.
Wow.
I drug him.
Wow.
So there's so many ways to look at it. For me, that's how I feel. That's how we have to be. See what I'm saying? We got to be willing to drag our people to the finish line.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We do whatever we got to do to stay together if I have to drag you to the finish line.
Right.
Stop playing.
That's
it. We have to adopt that mentality.
Yeah.
Once we start adopting that mentality, we become super powerful.
Yes.
We become Voltron. Stop playing.
There you go. That is it. The God MC, man. Shoot. I mean, what else can you say, man? You also embody something else that Dr. Boyce Watkins talks about all the time. Here's something else that we can get. We know a lot of brothers and sisters who make good money on their job, satisfied with their job, and we're not bashing a job ever. We just understand that wherever you can get income from, the goal is always to take that income and make that income start serving you, right? Take the money that wherever it's coming from, where it's coming from the job. I know brothers in the streets, if it's coming from the streets, take that money, then make that money serve you so you won't have to keep trading your labor for it, right? So we know that is the case. So we know a lot of brothers and sisters like this, but they are fearful of entrepreneurship. And they'll say stuff like, well, entrepreneurship is risky, but they working for one. Right. So that's what they don't get. But Dr. Boyce Watkins said it is risky and not everybody is cut out to run a business, but everybody should own a business. And the last time we talked, you shared something with me. You own a business, a tax preparation business. You own this business, but you don't do taxes. So, but you don't have to. Right. But that's not your field of study, right?
No, I'm not a CPA.
There you go. There you go.
I'm a tax professional, but I own the whole thing.
You own the whole thing.
And right, myself, I have a partner.
You have a partner,
right?
Uh-huh.
And I have 4 CPAs that work for us.
Right.
They work for themselves, but they work under our
Right.
umbrella.
Right.
And the reason being is that how this all happened is because I had so many people. I had over 300 something clients. I could not service all.
Right.
See, they had hardly nothing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So partnered up. And I said, listen, I'm gonna split mine up. Here's my percentage that I want for everybody. And now we're like, I did almost a $250,000.
Wow.
This last year. So yes, you do not have to. I have a friend who owns several dentists.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a dentist.
Right.
Stop playing. She's not a dentist.
Yeah.
We have to. The problem is we're just afraid. People are afraid to invest their money. Right.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to you. People invest their money every single day.
Yes.
They just don't realize it.
Yes.
They just investing their money in other people's dreams and goals.
Yes.
They're not investing their money in theirs. Say it. Say, I'm afraid to invest in my dream.
Right.
Say that, because that's what's really happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a travesty, to be honest with you.
It is.
It's a travesty. How can you? I never even. I'll give an example. I used to work because I've had jobs. Make no mistake, I've had jobs.
Right.
But I had a job recently. My last job was at Time on the Cable. Right.
Okay.
I was in sales. I was like #1 in the nation of sales in Time on the Cable.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In the entire enterprise of Time on the Cable, I was making $100-something thousand a year.
Mm-hmm.
I discussed my wife. She's the real brains behind a lot of things that happen.
Right.
Just don't know.
Right. Gotcha.
I discussed it with my wife. I told my wife one day I came home. I said, baby, I found out somebody was making $30,000 a week. I said, Marcia, I can't even go to work anymore knowing that.
Wow.
Because there's nobody in the world that much better than me at anything.
Right. Yeah.
I learned that I promise you could ask my wife this. I learned that on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
That Friday was the last day. I quit with having knowing nothing. I just quit.
Wow.
My wife was like, bless, do it.
Wow.
Go for it, baby. Do
Nice.
it, because I know you can do it. And
Nice.
I quit, right? This job, because I knew I'm one of the kind of people that if I have a cooking, I'm going to lay down and go to sleep. Not blank. It's the truth.
Gotcha.
I have to have
Yeah.
I have to have that pressure. So, other people, what I will say for you guys, the people that do have jobs, use that job to elevate yourself, not to stay in the same position you're in. Because 10 years, 20 years from now, that's the same position you're going to end. It's systematic poverty. It's designed to systematically put you in a bad position later on down the line. And
Right.
you have to realize that today.
Yeah,
So that was
keeps
my
keeps you
my
dependent. That's what the system does. It keeps you
exactly.
dependent. And I want you guys to think about something. If you had, this is a question for those who are on Facebook and YouTube. You can comment as well because I can see your comments. If you had zero debt right now, would you be working the job that you have right now? Now, no, get the question. Not saying you wouldn't be working a job. If you had zero debt right now, would you be working the job that you currently have? Most people wouldn't because the stress level is too high. But I got to deal with this stress level because I've got this debt that I've got to service. I've got to maintain a mortgage. I got to maintain this car that I might not be able to afford. I got to maintain this lifestyle that I put up. But if you had zero debt, most people would not at all. All right, Crystal Lee said nope for sure. Jay says she still will. Most people, if you had zero debt, you would not be working the job that you have right now. Most of us are stuck in jobs because of debt obligations. And we're just working those jobs because, hey, man, I got these bills to pay, man. So my boss calls me crazy, but I'm going to go in and be crazy because I got to keep a roof over my kid's head. But if that was gone, what would you be doing with your life, right? What kind of life work would you be doing? That's kind of what you have to start asking yourself now. When you start to answer those questions, you say, okay, well, what can I do with this income that I have from this job, right? How can I take this income and make it work for me and not just use it to service my debts? How can I take this income and create an escape plan for myself, right? Are you familiar with the term drapetomaniac? Right? I'm a drapetomaniac to the heart. Drapetomania is a psychological condition that was put on the slave who continued to try to escape. Right? I'm not making this up. If you go look up drapetomania, it used to be in the DMS, the Diagnostical Statistical Manual for diagnosing people with mental illnesses. So drapetomania to the slave master was a disease. Something has to be wrong with this slave. He keeps trying to run away. So they gave it a name, right? So I am a drapetomaniac just by nature. I'm always trying to figure out some sort of escape route, some escape plan to get off the plantation and do my own thing, man. And I know you are a drapetomaniac, and that's why I only attract drapetomaniacs in my life, man. That's all I run with. And when you say you want to run with me, the first thing I do is I strip your shirt off and I look at your back to see if you got any lashes back there, because that means you've been running before. So that lets me know, yeah, we can run with this guy because he's been there before. He's escaped and got caught, got those lashes. He's got marks to show it, brother. So we're approaching 10 minutes until the top of the hour. I know you wanted to really promote and talk about the importance of rebooting. And you guys have something very amazing that you guys are putting together that will help not just entrepreneurs like myself, but people who are working regular jobs, man. They need this reboot as well. Because I remember when I was working, before I was able to kick my job to the curb, it's like going through a lot of stuff that you just kind of need to just decompress, so to speak. So talk about the mountain trip that you guys are putting together that's allowing people to decompress.
Okay. Well, first of all, people need to spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. They are reboot, basically. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize it until you sit back and look at your whole life and look at everything, and you realize that you're pretty much overwhelmed. The reason why a lot of people now are not moving and are not progressing is because they're carrying so much weight and there's so many obstacles that they just never decided to leap over that they compound it now. And they're so high that they can't even, it's impossible for them to leap over without help.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Right. Sometimes you can actually leave your situation, go somewhere else where you see where everybody or a lot of other people are there to knock these walls down. Right? So Dr. Jerry Bobo and I, and Winter Bobo and Marcia Ellis, my wife, we decided to come together and put something together like this. Now, I went to this before, right? When Dr. Jerry Bobo did it by himself. And it was so incredible that I knew that this is what everybody needs, right? So we, like I said, we come together, we came to do this, and there's going to be a lot of people, lives that are changed. And what happened is, when we got back from that last retreat that we did, people literally, their businesses started flourishing.
Wow. Wow.
Because they were free. They faced over the fears, a lot of the fears that they had. They left everything there.
Gotcha.
And I think it's important. Pick those hurdles up, bring them with you on this retreat, and leave them there.
Right.
You see, it's very important. And when you do that, you come back, you are completely rebooted. Now, mind you, I did not expect that, right? But it happened for me, and I wasn't expecting it. So I know there were people there that were expecting it. And it happened for them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So listen, everybody needs this. Make no mistake. We as Black people, we have to stop internalizing everything. We have to go somewhere to release something.
Right.
Leaders too. You see, and I had to realize that. Even being a leader myself, that I'm carrying some things.
Right.
Understand that I need to let go, and I need to face. Not that's in my own way.
Right.
They were left there. And I thought
Gotcha.
it was, we created a trip that's going to be so incredible. It's going to over deliver. I can't even listen. It's insane. No, I'm serious.
Gotcha.
It's insane. It's going to over deliver by thousands and thousands of dollars.
All right.
Over deliver.
So give them the link.
Okay. The link that you want to go to, and probably have to look at it because just to let you know, we sold out the first cabin. Period.
Right.
34 people sold out in 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we just added another one.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you're interested in going, go to cabin2.mountaintrip.info. Once again, that's cabin2.mountaintrip.info. Okay? It's going to be life-changing. Life-changing. And it's in April, from April the 19th to the 22nd, and it's going to be in Georgia.
All right. So that's 4/19 through the 22nd. Cabin, the number 2 dot mountaintrip.info. Cabin, the number 2 dot mountaintrip.info. 4/19 through 4/22. Man, that's amazing. And like you said, man, we got to learn how to decompress. We're all carrying around so much baggage, man, that is really holding us back from being as great as we can, man. And the funny thing that you mentioned that, man, and we have this syndrome. See, Black people are really superheroes walking on this earth.
Facts.
But you know why we don't realize we have superpowers? It's because everybody else in our community also has superpowers. So let me show you where I'm going with that. When Superman was on his home planet, Krypton, everybody was Superman, right? So, but it wasn't until he came to Earth where he was the only one that could defy gravity. He was the only one that was super strong. He was the only one that had super speed and could shoot lasers out of his eyes, that he became a superhero. And what I'm saying, and how I'm tying this into the mountain trip, is because we are all dealing with stuff and we do it with such grace and such class, we don't realize the internal strength and fortitude that it takes to even deal with some of the stuff that we deal with. And we don't realize that is a super power. And you will listen to somebody tell you their story, what they've been through, and you be thinking to yourself, man, how the hell you get through that? That's amazing. You got to be super strong. That's amazing. There's no way I could survive something like that. And then you would tell them your story, and what they're going to say. That's amazing. There's no way I'd be able to survive something like that. How did you get through that? That's mentally crushing. That because we're all walking superheroes, but we're in a community where everybody is a superhero. It doesn't surprise you that we deal with and overcome and get through so much stuff. I mean, think about our babies, man, who are growing up in literal war zones. How are they not crazy seeing their buddy after buddy lose their life in the streets? How are they not crazy going through police? Because we're superheroes, right? But let me help you understand something. If you can get to a trip like this, right, and unload and empty your tank, so to speak, so you can come back and you can run hard without the burden of that stuff for another 5 years before you get bogged down with it again. You can elevate your life to a whole new stratosphere. And guess what? When you elevate, by default, you raise and elevate the lives of those around you because they are on your coattails anyway. So, brother, we are down to the last 4 minutes. Anything you want to say that we didn't say, you want to connect with or mention that we didn't mention already, man? Brother, the floor is yours, man. Go ahead and make sure that we cover everything, man.
I wrote this down, and this is very important. And I think us as Black people, we need to start exercising this, okay? Because this is what I did to become financially successful. Financially, I know a lot of you guys don't know my history, or whatever, but this year alone, I cashed over $1.6 million, right?
Wow.
And how I did it, and what we need to start realizing is we have to stop upgrading. Okay? We have to stop upgrading, right? We have to learn, and I wrote this down because it's so important, and it was so life-changing for me and my wife and I, right? You have to minimize your life to maximize your future. Minimize your life to maximize your future, you guys, okay? For instance, when that new iPhone comes out, you don't need, if you don't own a business, you're not running a business, you don't need a $1,000 cell phone. Your daughters and your children do not need a $1,000 cell phone.
Wow.
Okay? Because it's not general, and big business is so embedded in us, they tell us what to spend our money on. Just like you said, 85%, what you said, 85%?
85%.
85%.
All retail spending.
The per capita, but we spend 85% of our money on retail. See, we got to understand that, guess what? We're in a cycle, right? We're in a situation where we were taught to behave and act a certain way. And we're acting and behaving that way.
Yeah. Due
to all of the advertising that you see around us. It is designed to take all of the money out of your pocket. And this is the truth, you guys. This is true. So let me give an example with my wife and I. Okay? We sacrificed everything. I sold businesses. We got rid of houses. We did everything to minimize. Everybody else was trying to figure out how to get bigger houses. I was trying to figure out how to make my house smaller.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Seriously, down to the strip, down to the meat, down to the bones. Take the meat off.
Right.
I just want this thing down to the bones. Because I know at the rate that I'm going right now, right? Normally, when everybody's going left, you probably need to be going right.
Yes. Absolutely.
Everybody was growing and getting new cars and buying new houses. This is what they were doing, right? And I always look 5 years ahead, come back and make a decision.
Right.
Once I looked 5 years ahead, I bought $600,000 houses, $500,000. I was wilding, big cars, all of these things, right? But then you know what? Once you realize you're going in the wrong direction, what do?
Gotta bust a U.
You gotta stop it. We gotta stop. You gotta stop and say, you know what? I don't need this $1,500 a month apartment. I'm gonna downgrade to a $700 a month apartment. See, this, when you start thinking like that, you guys, you're on your way to create wealth.
Yes.
You are putting yourself in position to win.
Yes.
Instead of constantly putting yourself in a position to lose. See, what happens is you start the bondage that you're in, you start unwinding the bondage.
Yeah.
That's what we have to start doing. We have to minimize our life to maximize our future. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you make at your job. If you do not start applying that one strategy to your life, you will never be successful financially. You will never leave the legacy that you really want to leave to your family, to generations. I promise you, because there's not enough money. There's not enough time either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my greatest advice to everybody is let's figure out ways to minimize. Because if you're minimizing everything else, that means internally, that means you can build bigger things externally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's powerful, bro. That's powerful. And the one word that you kept mentioning in there is sacrifice. That's the one thing that can transform our communities overnight is sacrifice. If we just say, you know what, and that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. Sometimes you alluded to it, and I think that's kind of what the generational wealth blueprint is, right? One generation is going to have to make some tough sacrifices so no other generation that comes behind them ever will. One generation, right? You keep talking about, and I hear people talk about all the time, is that we've got to end the cycle of poverty. We got to end this cycle of poverty. We got to end this cycle of poverty. So end it then.
Exactly.
It starts with you. Just if you can end it.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, you can end it with a few sacrifices, right? Yeah. I did a whole blog on it. I said, man, if you're willing to live like a hermit, and we're just gonna put some numbers to what you were saying, right? If you live like a hermit for 10 years, the first 3 years living like a hermit is going to bring so much money back into your household. You're going to use that money to get out of debt. And then we use our tools, our financial calculators, and I showed that if you were to live like a hermit for 3 years and got out of debt, you then took the money, the new cash flow that you have that was going to, because statistics show that the average American is spending $1,500 per month on interest alone on the debt. This doesn't include what's going to the principal. This just includes what's going to the interest on the debts that we're servicing, right? $1,500. So if you took that $1,500 and you invested it so we're talking about a 10-year game plan. So you the first 3 years, you just focus on getting out of debt, right? And then the 7 years, you freed up $1,500 that was going to interest on your debts. If you invested that at 14% rate of return, right? And some of you guys are going to look at me like I'm crazy. What do you get 14%? Join the Black Wealth Movement, join the Kingdom family, and we'll teach you. So at 14% and 7 years, that $1,500 a month grows to $212,000, right? Now, if you never invest another dime, but you set that up to be passed down to your grandchildren 20 years later, in 20 years, that 212 grand grows to 3.4 million. That's how you build generational wealth with one sacrifice. And I didn't even say you sacrifice your whole life. I said you sacrifice for 10 years. But you got to have long-term vision, long-term thinking.
One last thing, Cortez, before we go.
Yep.
Right? And because I know we're running a little over, right? We are addicts.
Mm-hmm.
We are addicts.
Mm-hmm.
We may not be drug addicts. We may not be alcoholics.
Mm-hmm.
We are addicts. That's why it's so difficult for a lot of people to minimize and match that whole concept alone.
Yeah.
It hurts their brains, right?
Yeah.
It's like saying, you know what, cold turkey, I'm not smoking crack anymore.
Right.
I'm not smoking cigarettes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have become addicted, all right, to new sneakers every year.
Yeah.
New book bags every year, right?
Right.
New cell phone. The new this. The new that. Oh, I gotta get this. I gotta get that. See,
Mm-hmm.
that addiction, and we constantly feed that financial addiction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And what's happening is, once you're an addict, look at the behavior of an addict.
Yes.
Right? An addict will do anything eventually to get that.
Yeah.
And even if I have to work a whole extra week, 80 hours in this week to get this little fix, meaning this new TV,
right,
or that new cell phone,
right,
or that new blah, blah, blah. See, that's what we're doing, you guys. We've become retail addicts.
Yes.
We become vehicles for other people's success and other people's families' legacies.
Yes.
We are the vehicles. That's what they literally have us addicted. So the first thing that we have to fight, you guys, is addiction. Stop
Wow.
playing. We have to fight that. That addiction to want to be seen.
Nice.
You get what I'm saying?
Nice.
That
Yes.
addiction to want to be seen. We have to try now to reverse that and try to do everything that we can do not to be seen. Remember, everything is the opposite. Everything
Yes.
that you see right now, do the opposite.
Do the opposite. Do the
and
opposite.
you will become successful.
Do the opposite. I mean, you guys are going to do the opposite. In the chat, type opposite. And you guys know what time it is, man. We're going to end the stream, and then we got some after the stream stuff that me and Bless going to do. You guys don't get to the behind the scenes. Not for free. I'll package it up and sell it to you later. But Mountain Trip for sure, guys. Go to the site, get registered. I think Martina put it in the chat. So, man. Brother, thank you so much, man, for coming to hang out with us, man. This means a lot to me to have you come on board, and I get to introduce my folks to the Kingdom family, because that's important. It's important that we break down these walls and people start to see that brothers can collaborate with brothers, and we can make some amazing things happen. And that's what this is for me. People say all the time, man, you bring other financial people on your show, man, isn't that going to hurt your brand? Nope. Nope, because I don't think like that. Scarcity is man-made. Just remember that. And that's the last thing I'm going to give y'all for free. Scarcity is man-made. So when you start thinking that there's not enough for everybody, that's a man-made concept. Everything that we need comes from the earth. And the last time I looked at a homeless person, I didn't see an absence of trees. I'm going to leave that right there. Some of y'all going to get it. So I'm H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the black community. He is. Go ahead.
Bless Ellis. One last shameless plug, you guys. Shameless plug.
Give it to him, man.
All right. Listen, if you are in the Raleigh area, you guys, this weekend, if you are in North Carolina or anywhere, South Carolina, close to the Carolinas, Ivy Stokes, Martina Brick Yolverton, and Ray Hope and the whole squad is going to be out in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm sure Martina, she'll post it in the feed. Okay, so you guys can see it. Get your people to this place, because this is where the $600 million man is going to be. Nice. He's going to be talking about how he did. You get what I'm saying? How he created this level of income. And you guys, he's alive. He's an African-American male. Okay? And he has accomplished some amazing things. So if you have family, friends, anybody in the area, Martina's going to post it. You guys need to be at this event tonight. Tonight. Get your peoples there, because and Cortez know.
Yes.
Okay? Cortez, your people, if you can get your people there too.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what Ivy's going to do.
Absolutely.
So, get your peoples out tonight, you guys. I just wanted to send that out there to you, because he is one of my mentors. He's one of Cortez's mentors.
Yes, absolutely.
And, and it's very important that you guys, you spread the love. This is what we have to do as a community.
Yeah.
We have to let our people know.
$600 million man will give you his blueprint to going from a $10 investment to $600 million net worth. Come on, man. And you got to make time for something like that if you are serious about building generational wealth. On the other hand, if you're serious about upgrading, then it's going to go over your head. But if you're serious about minimizing your life so you can maximize your future, then get around people who are doing it. So he's Bless Ellis. I'm H. Cortez. Until we talk to you next time, Bless, stick around. I'm going to kill this feed, and we're going to do some other stuff. Until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it, y'all. But more importantly, you deserve it. Peace out.